gentlemen, good evening, and welcome to our Westland City Council Candidate Forum presented by the Livonia-Westland Chamber of Commerce. My name is Dan West, the Chamber's president, and I will be the moderator for this program. Thanks to all of you for joining us today. This forum is designed to be an informational program to give Westland's business people and residents a chance to learn more about the candidates running for the 4 seats on the Westland City Council and the election taking place Tuesday, November 4th. The Livonia-Westland Chamber of Commerce is a nonpartisan, nonprofit trade organization that represents more than 1,200 businesses and organizations within the business community serving Michigan's 8th and 9th largest cities. The Chamber does not make any candidate endorsements. We thank our audience, as I said earlier, for being here, and those that will be watching this video feed in the weeks ahead. We are also grateful for the work of WLND TV, their crew, who is producing this video of this forum so others can watch the rebroadcast on the city's cable access channel and the city's YouTube channel in the weeks ahead. This format of this forum and the opening questions were developed by the Chamber's Government Affairs Committee. This forum will last about 90 minutes long. Members of the audience are invited to ask questions of the council candidates by submitting them on 3x5 cards. We got Sherry and Jason back there that'll collect your, just raise your hand with your card and they'll come by and collect it. The submissions will be screened to prevent questions that are redundant, inaccurate, or personal. And we also ask that we'll ask as many of the candidate questions as we can with our time allotted. With that, it is time to meet our 8 candidates running for the 4 seats on the Westland City Council this year. I will introduce them in alphabetical order. They are Emily Bauman, Jim Hart, Delano Hornbuckle, Michael Londo, Antoinette Martin, Lakeisha Maxwell, Joshua Powell, and John Sullivan. Let's welcome our candidates. The top 3 finishers will earn a 4-year term on the council, and the 4th place finisher will earn a 2-year term on the council for terms that begin on January 1st, 2026. A council member holds a part-time position on the city's 7-member legislative body. Additionally, in accordance with city ordinance, 2 of the candidates will be elected to finish 2 terms of incumbent council members who are appointed to their seats. Those terms would run from about mid-November to the end of December. Each candidate will be invited to make a 1-minute opening statement and 1-minute closing statement. The candidates will have up to 1 minute to respond to each question. Each candidate is allowed a 30-second rebuttal after they've answered a question to respond to a comment on the same question by an opponent. The candidates are arranged in order of numbers that were drawn prior to the forum. Accordingly, we rotate in order in which each candidate responds first. Laura Tamuch and Dawn Smith are in the front row, and they will serve as our timekeepers and will inform the candidates how much time they have left. We ask that everyone in the audience please silence their phones for the next 90 minutes. With that, we will begin with John Sullivan, who will open with his opening statement. John, you have 1 minute.
All right, thank you. Thank you all for taking the time to come out here today and for watching this at home to learn more about your candidates for City Council here in Westland. My name is John Sullivan. I am running for City Council to try to bring my education, knowledge, and experience to our City Council to help move our city forward in a positive direction. I have been a licensed and practicing attorney for 30 years and have 8 years of experience as an elected Wayne County Commissioner. I have been serving and volunteering in Westland for many years, and I currently serve on the Westland Youth Assistance Advisory Board, the Westland Local Development Finance Authority Board, and on the Westland Tax Board of Review. I am also a member of the Westland Historical Society. I am a strong believer in community service, and my only goal in running for City Council is to do everything that I can to serve my community and to make our government work for the people. Thank you.
Next, opening statement from Michael Londo.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Michael Londo. I'm a lifelong resident of Westland, a former mayor and former member of our City Council. I want to take a moment to thank the Livonia-Westland Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event and for the fellow candidates that showed up. It's great to see everyone here. I've never run for office for the title. I've always focused on the work and the results it delivers for our residents. I bring a unique combination of executive and legislative government experience, giving me a proven ability to balance budgets, lead citywide initiatives, and work directly with residents to solve problems. I'm the only candidate with both perspectives, which allows me to understand how to get things done effectively and efficiently. During my time in office, we tackled long-standing neighborhood challenges, improving sidewalks, parks, and traffic safety, and laid the groundwork for a new fire station. Many of these initiatives and projects are still being implemented today, showing the lasting impact of our work. Westland deserves leadership that listens, acts with integrity, and delivers results, not politics. I'm ready to bring back my proven leadership, strengthen public safety, improve quality of life, and ensure financial stability for the future. Thanks.
Opening statement for Emily Baumann.
Yes, also thank you for the Chamber for hosting this and the candidates showing up. Appreciate doing this. I'm Emily Baumann, running to serve Westland for a second term on City Council. As someone that believes in being better every day, when I was elected 2 years ago, I set to work right away to learn how I could be a better servant for Westland. In addition to the experience I had in corporate, as a business owner, in my community, raising money for nonprofits, and a whole bunch of other things that I have a lifetime experience with, I knew that I needed to be a better servant. I needed to be a better council person. I needed to listen to the residents. So I did what I could do, but between learning through Michigan Municipal League's training, through my colleagues, through mentoring and asking questions, and even serving on committees that I could do. And I find that I wanted to make sure that I earned my reelection. So I am asking for that, and I'm looking for an opportunity to serve Westland for a second term this time. Thanks.
Next, the opening statement for Delano Hornbuckle.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Delano Hornbuckle. I'm your Westland City Council member, and I thank you all for being here today. I've been living in the city for the last 15 years, raising my beautiful family of 5. Over the years throughout the city, I learned a lot of things about our great city of Westland. And I also learned about a lot of the pain points in our city. And through that journey, instead of going straight to the top and trying to put my name at the top, I grew and learned every step of the way. I started off by being on the library board, learning about how our library works and learning how our community uses our library, a very, very important iconic item in our city. I moved to Parks and Rec, learning how our parks and how our kids use our park. That's very important to me and my family because they use the parks every day. And I moved to planning and now serving as City Council for the last 3 years. I'm seeking to continue to serve you in this capacity because I believe Westland can do better and will do better together for everyone in our neighborhood. So thank you for being here, and it looks like my time is up. Sorry.
Next, the opening statement for Josh Powell.
Yes, hi. My name is Josh Powell. I've been a Westland homeowner since 2019. We lived in the area since 2015. My background real quick, I did 6 years in the Army National Guard as an MP. Got a degree in criminal justice from Purdue, as well as a degree in information technology from Lindenwood University. And I'm a member of the local American Legion. I have very specific goals I'm trying to accomplish on City Council. Unlike a lot of people when they run, everybody wants to improve the city. I don't think anybody's running that doesn't want to improve the city, but I have specific goals I'm trying to accomplish. One of them being the water tower. I've stood down there and talked about it many times, but I believe that lowering the cost of living for everyone is a really important thing to do. And I want to bring in some new investment into the city so that people like my son will want to stay in the city and live and grow here. And I want to keep my family around. And that's why I'm running.
Next, the opening statement for Jim Hart.
Thank you, everyone. Jim Hart, my name. I'm on the City Council currently. Been serving for 8 years. I'm the longest serving council member, not only running for re-election, but on the City Council as a whole. I'm 48 years old. I've been married for 29 years to my lovely wife, Linda, who's in the audience today. So congratulate her and feel sorry for her at the same time. But about me, 15 years United States Army service, got out Staff Sergeant E6. I am a disabled veteran, and I continue to serve my VFW, the American Legion, and I'm a member of the Sons of the American Revolution. After the military service, I did get a bachelor's degree in business management from University of Phoenix, but then I also got my master's from the University of Michigan Dearborn from the College of Business. I've been around the city for a while, and I've been doing a lot of work so far. We have a lot more work to accomplish working together, whoever that might be. But I also have a lot of public, private, and nonprofit leadership experience. I bring that to bear, and it's been paying in spades lately. So looking for your support to keep it going and keeping up the good work. Thank you.
Next, the opening statement for Antoinette Martin.
Hi. I've been in Westland for over 40 years now. Currently, my mother lives with me, a 92-year-old woman, and I was widowed about 5 years ago. I am a retired financial planner who built a business from the ground up, and sold it in 2018, 30 years later. I currently work at the Rouge plant in the museum as a presenter. I've been on many boards and commissions in the city, and one of the clubs I belong to is the Rotary, and our motto is service above self. And I hope to bring that service above self to the council, and that's all I have to say. And you can catch me at 734-673-7249 if you have any questions. Thank you.
And finally, the opening statement for Lakeisha Maxwell.
Good evening. My name is Lakeisha Maxwell, and I'm honored to be a candidate for Westland City Council. I've lived here for 15 years, and like many of you, I want to see Westland grow into a city where families, veterans, and businesses can thrive. I'm dedicated to the leadership roles that I've taken in our city, and I want to focus on building meaningful partnerships, manage resources wisely, and make a positive impact. I'm running for city council because I love this city, and I believe Westland deserves a government that listens, is accountable, and puts residents first. I'm ready to bring sound perspective, sound financial decision-making, and a sound commitment to Westland. Thank you.
All right, we'll get to our questions now. And our first question, the first response will go to Mr. Londo. And that question is, and I ask it twice, what do you think are the city's biggest public safety issues? What do you think are the city's biggest public safety issues? We'll begin with Mr. Londo.
Well, thank you. Public safety is always my top priority. I think Westland needs a fully staffed police, fire, and EMS department so residents can rely on quick response times, quick response when it matters most. I'm proud of my work supporting public safety over the years as an elected official, and I know how important it is to remain an attractive city for these hardworking men and women to work so we can retain and recruit the brightest and best. Our police department also needs modernization. Not just the technology, but in facilities. I think our station is aging and needs more than a facelift. They either need a complete rebuild or a major expansion. Updated facilities mean better efficiency, faster response times, and stronger protection for our residents. We also must keep continuing to seek support from the state and federal partners. They've done a great job with getting this money for the fire departments. I think we could utilize some resources for our police department, and at the same time, the city must budget accordingly for the capital needs that we'll need as well. So you need equipment when we're putting new buildings in. So thank you.
Mrs. Baumann.
With public safety, I would definitely agree that we need to make sure we are fully staffed. That is one of the things that, at all times, so even if we have turnover or we have, retirees, we have to make sure that we're backfilling that, which includes encouraging people to step into that role. So working with our schools and things like that, so we have younger people, or hiring veterans, so we have people that we can actually bring in. So that's something that I know that they're doing and working on, and that's exciting. I'm obviously very excited that our Fire Station 2 has opened. In speaking with the Chief Dolly, one of the areas that he specifically has asked for, which is most important, I think, is the range. He does want some updates to the range inside City Hall, or inside the police station, more than anything else. And so I think collaborating with our chief and our groups and saying, what do you need, is really important. And I think that's something that we can do. We can actually work on getting that accomplished.
Mr. Hornbuckle.
Yes, I'm going to agree with what they said about public safety. Yes, fire, police are very important. And over the last 3 years, being on city council, we actually demonstrate that and try to improve those things. In coordination with our state reps, new fire station, going out for grants to hire the necessary staff members to make sure we do have the appropriate staff, but also looking at other areas that is hindering our great men and women that serve us every day, like looking at business that abuses our fire department. Let's put ordinance and have rules in place to help alleviate our fire department. So I'm glad to be a part of those things. Police, we restructured the police contract to attract more and better police officers to our city to protect us better and serve us better. But we can do more, like it was mentioned, upgrading our police station, having great police officer trained properly, and also the next thing would be mental health as part of safety issues, making sure we have the right people in place to help with mental issues, and thank you, that's my time.
Mr. Powell.
Yes, I do believe being fully staffed is a concern, but I wouldn't say that just because we're fully staffed is to the amount of officers we want to hire doesn't necessarily mean we have the right amount of officers. But I don't think necessarily hiring more officers is the immediate solution. We can have, there's lots of technology now, drones. So I think technology would be the most important thing to upgrade for public safety at the moment. One drone could replace, several officers, just look at, for speeders, things like that. There's mobile cameras now that can monitor locations instead of having to have someone sit outside of it, things like that. But I think we need new and innovative ways to approach public safety instead of just, throwing bodies at it and money at it. That's where I sit on that.
Right, Mr. Hart?
Thank you. I think it'd be hard pressed to find anybody up here that says, oh, we're good with police and fire, no problems. And I think you're going to have that for the rest of the comments. But police and fire, very important. It's one of the most important things people consider when they come to live here in Westland, come to buy a home. It's just important to remember, police and fire are 2/3 of our budget. So it monopolizes a very large part of our budget. So any move one way or the other in police and fire has a very long-reaching financial implication. So we have to be smart. So we were. A couple years ago when I was council president, when we got the ARPA allocations, we were very zeroed in on making sure that we were taking care of police and fire. One of them was we pulled ahead all of the vehicles, we bought all new apparatus, we replaced all of the squad cars, we even bought ahead. We equipped them with everything we needed, and then we also started the Fire Station 2 project, a couple years ago. That wasn't just a new iteration. So we've been doing it, we've been watching it, and those are the kind of things and the kind of your view that you need to have moving forward as we start to continue to right-size our police and fire and give them the support that they need. Thank you.
Mrs. Martin?
Public safety. But as a citizen of Westland, when I think of public safety, I think about being able to walk the streets again. I think about walking into the mall and being not fearful something's going to happen in the parking lot. And I know our police do a great job, and fully staffing the police department is the #1 issue. And the same thing runs with the fire department, which is our big EMS. When you have an emergency at home, you need somebody you can call. And our fire department is working a hell of a lot, excuse my French. And we want to make sure that we keep them happy so that we can keep the experience in our city. Thank you.
Ms. Maxwell?
Yes, as we all have said, yes, we all support public safety. I did have an opportunity to meet with the union, the fire and the police union, and they did let me know that our numbers as far as staffing are better, but we have room for more growth. So I think that, staffing and making sure they're fully trained is good for both police and fire. I did have a situation earlier this year where my carbon monoxide detector went off and firefighter had to call 911, and they were quick and they took care of it. And so that's what we want as citizens, and to make sure that they are there in an efficient time.
And Mr. Sullivan?
Yeah, thank you. So obviously, like everyone else, public safety is a big priority of mine, and I am proud to have earned the endorsement of the Westland Firefighters Union for my campaign. I know the current administration and the City Council has done a great job in making sure that funding is available to fully staff both our fire and police departments. However, in my discussions with some of the leaders from the fire union, it looks like the biggest issue at this time is making sure that we're properly funding the retirement system and the benefits that we're providing for our for all of our first responders. We run the risk of losing some of our finest officers and first responders to neighboring communities that have better retirement plans and benefit packages. So I think that's something that the city needs to look into and work on right now, is making sure that we're providing competitive packages so that we are attracting and retaining the best first responders here in Westland.
All right, thank you. We'll go to our next question. I'll ask it twice. It is understandable for the city to focus on efforts to redevelop Westland Mall, but are there enough incentives and flexibility for redevelopment in other parts of the city? It is understandable for the city to focus on efforts to redevelop Westland Mall, but are there enough incentives and flexibility for redevelopment in other parts of the city? And we'll start with Mrs. Ballot.
Thank you for that. One of my key areas is actually economic development and being sure that we are attracting businesses to Westland that are going to help help it thrive and be stronger. So that is something that I have actually had conversations with our economic development and our planning department, so that, are we doing what we need to do? And in talking with them, that is something that they are working on. Just recently, they finished a report that actually was going to help do some of that more, basically because there was a study, I guess, that shows that we have like $5 billion, I think, outside, $1 billion within a 5-mile radius of our city. And being able to attract businesses that bring people to Westland to be able to spend that money is something that's critical. And they just put together that report and provided it. So it's actually, I believe it's publicly available as well. So that's one of the things that we have to be doing and looking at that. So yes, thank you.
Outside of the mall. So I would say, yes, there is. We have a lot of vacant spots in our city that we can definitely focus on trying to attract business to fill in those. I believe that filling in those, as you see across from the mall, that mall little strip is filling up. With that, in my idea, will attract people to actually look at the mall, to actually invest into the mall. As a city, we have grants you see the park across the street. That's one way of the city doing its part, but also fixing our walk areas to attract business, to let businesses know we are investing in our city to make it beautified, so you can be proud to move your business here. So there's definitely a lot of opportunities. Economic development was mentioned. I think they can be more aggressive in going out and trying to attract businesses. I believe that's one of the areas that we can work a little harder on as well, and I'll be encouraging that as well. Thank you.
Mr. Powell?
Yes. Outside of the mall, I think just we have to work on lowering property taxes, I think, in the city over the long term. We have to do it in a way that we're not going to cut our budget. So it has to be like a long-term plan where you can, sort of cut the millages as the property values increase, and hopefully we get more investment. So overall, you have more income in the city. But I personally have tried to develop a parcel of land for about the past 2 years, and every time I go to a bank or a developer, they are willing to work with me. They just don't want to work with me in Westland because of the property tax issues later. So I have personal experience trying to navigate this and deal with this issue, and that's one of the reasons I'm running as well. And I do think working with that, our shop and dine district, which has them all in it, is definitely a fundamental thing that we need to do to bring the city, revitalize the city.
Mr. Hart?
Thank you. So the question was for what incentives are available for redevelopment outside of the mall. So there's a number of things we've used them before. So for example, we've done pilots, payment in lieu of tax opportunities for developers to go ahead and do some of the work they have to do. We also have a brownfield redevelopment committee that offers funds for taking care of any damaged or any kind of polluted grounds, to be able to fund some of that and recoup it over a long period of time. We have offered tax abatements before, so that is a tool in our toolbox. We used ARPA stimulus dollars to actually stimulate a lot of the Presbyterian Village of Michigan development that's going over on Merriman. We put in $1 million to get that development going. So that was an incentive that we have. These are things that are in our toolbox, and we know how to use them. And then we're also talking about housing developments, PUD. That's why you have some of these new subs that are coming on. They're maybe outside of the standard zoning footprint. It's because a planned urban development program allows us to take a look at a big swath and let them get some of their housing development done. So we have these tools in our toolbox. Thank you.
Mrs. Martin?
I didn't realize I had to press that light. Anyway, I'm going to mirror what Jim Hart had said, because I sat on the Brownsfield Redevelopment Board for about 5 years, and we were able to bring in Tim Hortons and MJR Theater recently. And I also know that the Eloise site was developed with Brownsfield money. The other thing that I think we really need to start supporting, because we need to market the city. We can't just wait for developers to come to us. I think we need to go out and seek people like we do when we send people to different trade shows. That's how we got Wicked Pickle. And there are people who want to invest in Westland, but they just don't know how. And I think our administration is heading in the right direction to show us how to do that. Thank you.
Ms. Maxwell?
Hi, I'm on the TIFA board, and some of the things that we've talked about was, restaurants and a hotel, and then me personally, I want like a Michael Kors outlet or a Coach outlet, so to keep driving the Great Lakes Crossing, but we need to have some things to attract people in our city. But one of the things, I don't know about incentive, but I don't know if we have it, but what I would like to say is that Detroit Regional Chamber of Commerce launched a strategic initiative for Technology Hub. This line is going to run from Ann Arbor to Detroit, and I think if we could, there would be a great opportunity to encourage business owners or developers to consider Westland a home for technology, and that'll make our city get impact.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yeah, so I would agree. I think there's a lot of different ways the city can work with businesses to help attract businesses into areas outside of the mall area. We've talked about brownfield funds, there's DDA areas, there's TIFA, there's tax abatements that are available. So there's a lot of things the city can do to work with businesses. We do have a lot of empty storefronts throughout the city, and I know the Economic Development Department in the city has been working hard to try to fill those. I think the city needs to work hard in bringing businesses in to fill all of these areas that we have around the city. I believe we've got a lot that we can sell to businesses to draw them here. We are a very heavily populated area. If you include what we have here, what's in Livonia, you've got Dearborn, Canton, you've got 500,000 people just in this area. So any business that's looking to hire people or looking for people to patronize their business, we've got it here, and we need to make sure we're selling that to the businesses and to develop around the entire city.
And Mr. Londo?
It's always awesome going last because everything was said, but you really need leaders who understand economic development and have a track record of success in both the public and private sectors. Councilman Hart mentioned we have given tax abatements to U.S. Fair Thing, which is a huge business here in Westland off of Ford Road. I was proud to support that. I was proud to also support the Presbyterian Village Project or the Pace Center over on Merriman Road. We do have, as was mentioned, brownfield grants, MEDC grants. We're right in the heart of our TIFA zone, which is the Tax Increment Finance Authority. But for me, smart development means balancing growth with community character, creating jobs and revenue without harming the area or neighborhoods. The mall is privately owned and operated, so while we want to do things with the mall, it's privately owned and operated, and they need to play ball if the city's going to play ball with them as well.
All right, we'll move into our next question now. I'll ask it twice. Businesses have been impacted and residents, and commuter drives have been extended with lengthy closures for county-coordinated bridge and road repairs on Merriman and Wayne Road in recent years. How will you work with Wayne County to support county road projects in a way that minimizes issues for city residents and businesses? Again, businesses and residents have been impacted and commuter drives extended with lengthy closures for county-coordinated bridge and road repairs on Merriman and Wayne Roads in recent years. How will you work with Wayne County to support county road projects in a way that minimizes issues for city residents and businesses? And we'll start with Mr. Hornbuckle.
So yes, that's definitely a great question because that people in our city are being impacted by it for the last 3 or 4 years now, and it is getting frustrating for everyone. By myself alone, I would encourage the Wayne County and the administration, all of us, to work together to make sure these scheduled maintenance are on the docket and we're not doing construction or maintenance at the same time with them. So that's, because that would be part of the building the relationship, building the partnership, and making sure that we're coordinating these projects so it won't impact our residents and it won't impact our business for a long period of time. I think we've been having too many construction or maintenance in the same time period that's really hurting us left and right year over year. So working more closely with our partners in Wayne County, working with our partners at the administration, and make sure we coordinate that properly with our community and make sure that it is not a big burden for our community.
Mr. Powell?
Yes, I do believe, as Mr. Hornbuckle said, coordinating with the county to make sure we don't have competing projects at the city level is definitely the first thing we need to do. But also, I have a little bit of a different approach. I think we should have some green corridors for the main thoroughfares through the city, not just for the traffic for this project, but in general. And what a green corridor is say the speed limit is 45 miles an hour. If you only hit one, the lights are timed in such a way where you only hit one red light as long as you go the speed limit or around the speed limit the entire time. A lot of other cities have done this in other states, but I think that could really help alleviate some of the traffic and congestion because, everyone builds up at the red lights, keeps going. The other thing I think we could do for the small businesses that are impacted is possibly provide some city resources to help them if they don't already have delivery services. That's something pretty simple. We could have someone help coordinate with them.
All right, Mr. Hart?
Well, this question is more geared towards the executive and the administration. This is something more so in their lane to go ahead and work with the county. As a legislative body, of the city council, we can ask questions and we can go ahead and tell the administration, hey, what has the county told you with regards to construction? And try and ask them to go ahead and, again, make sure they're not doing competing construction at the same time. But again, the county's been pretty happy with not communicating with us very much, and they know that most residents don't realize it's a county project, and they call the city and yell at the city and hold the city responsible for it. Happens all the time. So truthfully, what can a legislator do? What could we do? Make a lot of phone calls and be difficult. That's what we can really do, quite frankly, when it comes to the county. They don't respond to us. They don't work for us technically. So it's something really that has to happen on the executive to executive and administration to administration level, with the council just being difficult. And I think all of us can do that. So thank you.
Mrs. Martin?
Well, for someone who lives right at the end of Wayne Road, and the bridge has been out, it's been trying, that's for sure. My answer is simple. I live down the street from Commissioner Anderson. I think I'll just go knock on his door and say, what's going on? How come this isn't fixed? I agree with Mr. Hart. It is up to the mayor. But I do know that the mayor and the mayor pro tem over Christmas had slowed down the construction of that bridge on Wayne Road because it was Christmas time. Somebody was paying attention. We needed to have Wayne Road open. And I think that a lot of the construction, God willing, will end within this next year in our area. Thank you.
Ms. Maxwell?
The joy of being last. Okay. No, so I'm just going to mirror with Jim Hart as well as Antoinette, because I had on my list that, work with our commissioner and make sure that there's communication with Westland administration so we can get these issues resolved. That's all I had. Thank you.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yeah, so I would agree. It's important to know who your county representatives are and how to contact them with any concerns that we have about county roads and county projects. I know our County Commissioner Glenn Anderson very well, and I'm proud to have his endorsement for my campaign. However, having been a former county commissioner myself, I understand his frustrations in dealing with road issues as well. Wayne County is the only county in the state that does not have a county road commission. So people often get confused and think that the Wayne County commissioners have direct control over our roads, and that's not the case. The county roads are run by the county executive's office through the Department of Public Services, and specifically the roads division within the Department of Public Services. So I think it's important for us in the city to have direct contact with all of those players in the county, from public services to the roads director. So when any issues do come up, we can contact them and not throw it all on our county commissioner, who doesn't really have the direct access and control over the roads.
Mr. Londo?
Thank you. Maintaining our roads requires strong partnerships, especially with so many of Westland's busiest roads being, county roads. As was mentioned, they fall under the county's responsibility. We'll do our best to work closely with the county to prioritize projects that based on safety, traffic flow, and then neighborhood impact, of course. I'm fortunate to have built a strong relationship with the CEO, Warren Evans, and also his deputy county executive, along with department heads from the county leadership. So I have their personal cell phone numbers. I could always reach out. They've always supported me in the past with information if I needed it. But it comes down to better communication. He mentioned, our commissioner. The commissioner can share information with our residents so they're not left in the dark. They can know what projects are coming, when the work's going to begin, and how it's going to affect their neighborhoods.
Ditto? No, just joking. I think it is really important to know the schedules. I know a couple years ago, I think in Livonia, the mayor actually did, if I remember correctly, did actually ask the Wayne County, similar as to when the other candidate said, was that to slow it down. And I remember there was one in Livonia where they actually did change the order. I don't know if they moved something up or they moved something back, but basically, and it is about working together. It's about being, it is about, and all those things. It's about calling. I've had an issue that I've been trying to work with our commissioner on, and just kind of, staying on it, pressing on it, and saying what's going on. The other thing I also made a suggestion to even to our economic development director is that when we do that, we look at these businesses, I think we need to look at other areas where they've been successful with keeping those businesses in play. And I think about years ago, a big one where the big highway they were working on, and what we can do to help them. And it's not necessarily giving them incentives, but maybe even giving them some guidance or help to make sure that they are better, that there's some more advertising that they're getting. Maybe there's some promotion that they can get and things like that with our residents, and really encouraging people to know that we need to take care of the businesses that are being affected.
And we'll go to our next question now. It's kind of a combination of a couple of thoughts from people in our audience. What ideas do you have to expand programming activities for young people in Westland? What ideas do you have to expand programming and activities for young people in Westland? We'll start with Mr. Powell.
Yes, I'd like to tie this in with my, as I said, I have some specific things I want to accomplish. One of those things is I would like to work with, as others have mentioned, the Westland Mall is privately owned and operated, but I would like to use some of the tools in the city's economic development arsenal, like property tax abatements, to incentivize the mall to possibly create a community center in the old Sears building, because they are, Sears is actually, most people know Sears went bankrupt. They're selling that building back to Namdar now. So Namdar will have control of the Sears building in there finally. So if we made it an economically viable option for them to build and maintain a community center in there, that would obviously be a huge boon for the young families and the young people in the entire city. So I think that would be my, yeah.
Mr. Hart.
Thank you. So we do have a couple ideas, right? So sometimes the first thing to do is let the pros do what the pros do. The Westland Youth Athletic Association is here in town. They have multiple sports leagues. Working with them, which I know our Parks and Recreation Department already does, right? Working with them, just trying to find ways to enhance that program. They're professionals at youth activity, right? So let the pros do what the pros do. Also working with the schools. Schools deal with children. Schools have athletic fields as well. Let's let the pros do what the pros do. There's some things that maybe you just let the pros do instead of us trying to recreate the wheel. So I think we work with the schools, Westland Youth Athletic Association, and our Parks and Recreation Department to go ahead and try and find enhanced programming. Beyond that, we all want the rec center. I want a rec center. You want a rec center. Everybody wants a rec center. And I will support a rec center as soon as someone puts a plan in front of me that shows that we can not only pay for it today, we can pay for it tomorrow and the day after, right? So it's a funding complication. We just have to get there, and I'm hoping with the next couple of years, maybe we'll finally have a path there. Thank you.
Mrs. Martin.
Well, I want to first say that Kyle does a great job at Parks and Rec. Outstanding, always working. Whenever there's something going on, you're seeing him first and foremost. It always takes me back to my childhood when people ask me questions like this. And I grew up in Southwest Detroit. And during the summer, we were able to go to the parks and the recs in the schools. And they always had things for kids to do. They had somewhere to go. They also had pools, and you could go swimming. So a few of those ideas would be great. And just like Mr. Hart said, it's all about the planning and being able to afford it. But a lot of this stuff is affordable, and that hopefully if we can give Kyle and the other departments enough funds, that we can get this done. Thank you.
Yes,
Yes, I do agree. We do have a great Parks and Rec. As I've been out door knocking, I've talked to some teenagers, and yes, they want a traditional rec center with a swimming pool. So I would love to have that as well, but I know we got to figure out how to afford it. So I think working with our Parks and Recs, and if we can figure out how to get a traditional rec center with the swim pool, that would be a good idea. I would like to support that.
Yeah, thank you. So I would really like to work with our Parks and Rec Department to try to expand the services that we are providing. There's currently several things that, our Parks and Rec Department does very well, but I think providing services to teenagers is something that's really missing. So we have programs for the young kids. We have sporting programs that, the city, helps with. But I hear a lot from the teenagers, and with my wife being a middle school teacher here in the district, there's just not a lot for them to do after school. So if we could find something in the parks, the rec center, as Jim said, would be a big thing that a lot of people would like to do if we can fund that. But we need to find somewhere in the park some programs that we can do that's going to be geared towards the young teens because they're looking for something to do. They don't always want to just be playing video games, so we need to try to help get them outdoors, get some activities that they'd be interested in.
Mr. Londo.
Thank you. So supporting our youth is investing in our future. That means creating safe spaces for them to rather learn, play, and grow. We've already made progress by expanding the library services. We improved up to 9 neighborhood parks with ARPA funding. We've launched programs like traffic safety initiatives in neighborhoods with speed humps. But looking ahead, I'm for adding a modern recreation center. I think it's a critical piece to our community, to providing youth with sports, fitness, arts, and social opportunities in a safe, welcoming environment. Obviously, like Councilman Hart mentioned, we got to talk about how we're going to fund that, whether it's a public-private partnership, whether it's just on our own. But I also want to continue to expand opportunities with the schools. We got a great relationship with the Wayne-Westland School District and also the Livonia Public Schools. We got a great relationship with our nonprofits and community organizations. We got a great mentorship program here with the Youth Assistance Program, which I was proud to serve on with John Sullivan over here. Time's up, I believe.
Bauman.
And I agree that it does seem to be a gap between the teenager and maybe young 20s or something of like activities we have here. And I know one of the things that I'd like to see, and I kind of was, I don't know if it came to my head now or if I said it before, I'm not sure, I'm trying to remember, but even engaging our youth into making that decision. So it's not just us adults saying, this is what you guys need, this is what we think you want, but really engaging our youth and maybe even having a youth commission that can actually be part of that process of helping, what that's there and a leadership opportunity where they can actually help us find the funding, whatever that means, and be part of the process. And I think that's going to be a big part. I know churches do a lot of things and stuff like that, but I actually think if we as a city could do, engage our youth to be better leaders to help us create that opportunity. So, yes.
Thank you. I got a long list, so I'll try to go as fast as possible. But programming ideas that I have was getting the kids involved into what's happening right here today. Having maybe a council of the day for the youth to see how government runs and how important it is to get out and vote and be a part of the community. After school free programs, not just athletic, but what about learn how money works? That's very important. They need to know how to save money, spend money wisely. Yes, we want a rec. I support a rec 100%. But this is about programming ideas, and I think making sure kids are educated after school, helping them with homework, getting good grades. Athletic, yes. I 100% agree that we should support these nonprofit that provide athletic abilities, teaching kids about teamwork and team building. There's a couple of schools that reach out to us as leaders, and I believe it's important for us to step up to provide them with stuff like lights in their play area. So thank you.
All right, we're about halfway through the forum right now, and at this point, we'd like to ask kind of a lighthearted question of the candidates, something to kind of introduce yourselves, personal side of you to the community. So the question we have for you is, what were your extracurricular activities in school, and what did you like about them? What were your extracurricular activities in school, and what did you like about them? And we will start with Mr. Hart.
Oh, boy. No, extracurricular activities in school, let's think. Elementary school, whatever it meant that I was outside just having fun, quite frankly. We were always playing, baseball, down behind, I grew up in the west side, southwest. Kosciuszko Elementary was right over in Tireman. We were always in the back there playing baseball on the sand field there all the time, run up and down Warren. And just getting into good trouble, that's what it was. High school, completely different. I was a JROTC nut, big surprise, surprise. So that's really what consumed all of my time, was being part of the JROTC program. I ended up being the battalion XO commander there. I was the drill team commander. I was wearing an Army uniform twice a week, and I just loved everything about it. So naturally, that's why I joined the military after. So that's what I did.
A local pool, and all my sisters and I were on a swim team. We did that. In high school, believe it or not, I was a cheerleader, and I also played intramural sports. But it's probably how I became a financial advisor, is I had a girlfriend, we would sit on the porch every day and play Monopoly. So that's what we did. But anyway, yeah, so it was a good upbringing. And then as I got old enough to work, I went to work because I liked money. So that's what I did. Thank you.
I'm fond of it too.
Yes.
Ms. Maxwell?
Okay, I was not a cheerleader, but I was a pomerette. So we came out halftime at the basketball games, and I was a marching. So when the band, I would do the marching parades. I enjoyed that, but I also took tap and jazz. This was in high school, by the way. I'm sorry, and I like ballroom now, so I love to dance. So yeah, I think it all goes together. But I haven't done any tap and jazz since high school, but I did enjoy it.
All right, Mr. Sullivan?
All right, so I was not a cheerleader or a pomerette, but I missed out on that. But I was very into sports when I was in school. Still am, but thanks to the aging process, more as a spectator now. But I played football, basketball, and baseball when I was young. Very much enjoyed sports, the camaraderie, the friendships that I made. I think I learned some important life lessons. Team sports, I think, is really good for young people in teaching lessons about sacrifice, about how you have to work together. When you're playing football and you got 11 people on the field, all 11 people have to do their job or that play's not going to work. So it teaches you, that sometimes you've got to give of yourself to make sure things work best for everybody. So, I really enjoyed that, and I've taken some important life lessons from that.
Mr. Londo?
Thanks. I also grew up playing sports, and that experience really shaped who I am today. Football, baseball, ran track, was on the wrestling team, Boy Scouts, and I wasn't a cheerleader, but I was probably wanting to hang out with the cheerleaders. So, but like John said, that really taught you a lot of life lessons in leadership and teamwork, camaraderie. He had a great analogy about 11 people being on the field at once for a football team. If everyone's not doing their job, the play's not going to succeed, right? Everyone, same thing here at City Hall. Everyone needs to be rowing in the right direction, doing their job, working as a team to make sure that the residents of Westland are getting the right team together. So, but thanks for the lighthearted question. That broke it up a little bit.
Ms. Bowman?
So I dabbled in sports. I was not actually consistent. So I was on the swim team, the field hockey team, the softball team, 1 year each. And it was fun. It was, that added to it. I enjoyed that. The things that I was consistent in that all the way through high school were Girl Scouts. I went all the way through. 4-H, I actually loved the fashion show and the demonstrations. I think the cooking demonstrations helped me be a better speaker because I had to memorize this speech and talk about how vitamin A helps prevent night blindness. And then my church youth group. So I also was involved in my church youth group consistently throughout my high school. And then with 33 acres and 3 siblings, we made use of a lot of time out in those, especially in the winter when we had like feet and feet of snow. So that was what I did. Thanks.
I know this was supposed to be a lighthearted issue, but this one really bothers me. I didn't grow up with a swimming pool. I did play sports, and we played basketball on the fence. So I played football, played basketball, played tennis. And why this bothers me is because that taught me why it's important for me to fight for the people behind me. I played basketball on the fence. I played tennis on the wall. I didn't have the luxury of most people up here. So played football, played basketball. When I got to high school, I didn't have those luxury of going to school, going to play sport, and then going home eating a dinner. I went to work for my family to make sure they ate and had a real basketball rim to play on, not just for my family, but for my community. So it's important to me. And I'm sorry that this is not a lot harder issue for me, but this is important that I stand here today to fight for the people behind me to make sure they don't have the same struggle I went through to get here. So I'm sorry my time is up, but thank you.
Mr. Powell.
Yeah, that's an easy one to follow. I actually grew up a little bit different. I grew up in a small town in Missouri. So I actually didn't grow up in Michigan, but it was a similar, similar. We were right outside of St. Louis. It was actually called Warrenton, as Westland, so it's kind of similar. I was a band geek, so I started out in middle school. I played low brass, trombone, baritone, tuba, things like that. And I did marching band through high school. And then I was actually a bigger kid, so the football team wanted me to be on the football team to be a defensive tackle. So I actually would, in halftime, I would take off my my football uniform and throw on the thing and go march, because we had a small school. We didn't have a lot of people. So, and then outside of football season, I was a nerd, so I did a speech and debate club, which comes in handy now, and Dungeons and Dragons. So that was my high school.
Laser above Mr. Hornbuckle.
I'm just I apologize, I'm gonna take my 30 seconds. But even though the struggle, I do wanna throw out there that I did play football at U of M, 2000. My coach seen my hard work and dedication at quarterback and helping the community. He got hired to U of M and he took me with him to give me that experience. So I do wanna say, there is a shiny light, but it does come with a little, heart feeling. So thank you.
Oh, Ms. Martin, what's that?
Yeah, when I say pool, we had the city pool, okay? When we said we went to work, we went to work. Not to downgrade what we did, but there was no silver spoon here, so just an FYI.
What?
All right, sorry. We'll go to the next question here. I'll ask it twice. What can be done to develop more affordable housing and other amenities for young professionals while protecting property values for current Westland homeowners? What can be done to develop more affordable housing and other amenities for young professionals while protecting property values for current Westland homeowners? And we'll begin with Ms. Martin.
Well, that's a good one. Affordable housing, I was corrected on what affordable housing was, but we have areas in Westland that are in dire need of affordable housing. And the people who live in those areas would never be able to afford the mortgage payment if they had to pay for it 100%. I believe that there are some grants and some loans that could be given to first owner initiative, which is one of the programs through the state. And what was the second part of that question? I'm sorry.
What can be done to develop more affordable housing and other amenities for young professionals while protecting property values for current Westland homeowners?
I don't have an answer for that second part. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Maxwell?
Yes, I'm on the Westland Housing Board, and I do know that we do have programs to help, but I don't think that'll be the resolution for everyone. So we do have that. And then I think I'm going to agree with Antoinette Martin. I don't think I have an answer for the second part, so thank you.
Yeah, so I think one of the big things we can do is try to limit the rental situation here in the city. We want to help people own properties, and what we're running into is a lot of people can't afford, or because of their credit, they're not able to get a loan to purchase property, but they're paying more in rent than they would on a mortgage. So if we can do something to help these young homeowners or people that for whatever reason have bad credit, aren't able to get a mortgage, I think that would go a long way in helping property values, protect property values in the city, because having homeowners is always better than renters because they provide more, they care more about their property, they take care of their properties better. So I think if we can look into ways to turn a lot of these rental properties into actually being properties owned by the people that are there renting them right now, it would really help the situation and help with our property values in the city as well.
Mr. Londo?
Thank you. We have a phenomenal housing and community development director here, Joanne Campbell. She does an incredible job. She's one of the best in the business when it comes to housing and community development. They provide HUD and home programs. Every year when she presents that plan, we're just in awe. I know as the council and the mayor, we were always in awe with all the programming that she had for CDBG eligible areas, which is our community development block grant. And we are concerned, talking with a lot of people, we don't know what's going to go on with the federal funding here in the next few years. We might lose that. So that's going to make affordable housing even bigger challenge here, not just in Westland, but in the United States. As far as affordable housing, or excuse me, as far as what can the city do to help with attracting young families, I believe that's what you said. Smart budgeting, fiscal responsibility, keeping the taxes low, not looking to raise taxes. The city doesn't have any say in interest rates, but we can keep their taxes low or stabilized.
Mrs. Baumann?
Yeah, I know that one of the things that they talk about for affordable housing is increasing some density, and I think we have to balance that. And I would totally agree with looking at, making sure that trying to keep the homes purchasable rather than rented. And I think we need to be looking at where we can do that with our ordinances and how we're allowing for that. So I think it's a multi-step thing, and I definitely agree with we need to basically look at the tax areas and see if there's anything we can continue to do to lower the tax burden for our homeowners, because I do know that's the shock that I've heard from several people when they buy a house in anywhere, not just Westland, but Westland too, where they get the shock of the first tax bill after things reset, after they make that purchase. And I think that we have an opportunity there to adjust that a little bit for certain areas, and I think we can look at that.
Mr. Hornbuckle?
Yes, affordable housing, I think that's a concern across the world, actually. But right here in Westland, some of the things that I think we can do is, it goes back to building businesses. If people have good paying jobs, they'll be able to afford the house they live in and take better care of it and won't leave the city. So working to bring in better businesses that pay reasonable pay as well. Working with our developers that come in and making sure they're building affordable houses for the pay scale that the city is known for. I think it's $50K or something a year, not building houses that's going to be $400-some thousand and our residents can't afford it. So making sure that we entice in businesses or construction companies to bring affordable houses in the first place. Also working with our I believe it was mentioned, Joanne, where we do have programs with the school that buy these vacant lots and build affordable houses using the school as a learning tool. My time is up. Thank you.
Mr. Powell?
Yes. Short answer is zoning and taxes. That's what we could do to help with all of the concerns, the affordable housing as well as protecting the homeowner value. Lowering the property tax bill, I've been door knocking probably like everybody else here for a few months now, and a lot of elderly people have a lot of heart-wrenching stories about their tax bill and about being able to afford it. And so we definitely need to look at something like that. But mixed-use development, I think we could do some work with the way our zoning currently works, and get some mixed-use development that combines some low-cost residential and commercial in the same place, where maybe in a place that's currently not developed, so we don't affect existing homeowners' property values.
Mr. Hart?
Thank you. Yeah, so this is a Westland City Council question for a national problem, right? But here's the issue, right? The home prices have gone up so exponentially for quite a very simple reason. No one's building starter homes anymore. The developers don't build them. There's not enough money in them. So the starter homes that are out there, that's it. It is a finite stock. So that's why cost of entry is going up and up and up, because people can't get to that first house just so they can get to their second house. And I hate to say it, and I disagree with Josh here. Actually, the solution only thing I can think of is there's going to have to be government involvement, And what the real solution here is to do two things to provide affordable housing and protect housing values, quite simply, we're going to have to subsidize housing builds. And then whoever the subsidizing agency is, be that the city, the state, the Fed, they get to maintain a percentage of the equity in that, so that when those people do financially get to a point they can sell, they can move, and then that barrier to entry to that house for the next person behind them is still lower. The threshold is still easier to cross. Thank you.
All right, very good. We'll move on to our next question, and that will be, what will you do to calm contentious political discourse and build common ground to resolve issues in our city? What will you do to calm contentious political discourse and build common ground to resolve issues in our city? We'll start with Ms. Maxwell.
Okay, contentious, okay. If elected, I would lead with respect and transparency to calm contentious political discourse. And I think that you should always listen, and it's important that the residents feel heard. So that would be the frame, is to respect and listen to the residents, because, you know, I'm sure there's people that's unhappy and they may be upset, but I think that, you know, you get more done if you listen and then come back and communicate. That's it.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yeah, so, you know, I've built a strong reputation as a uniter and someone that can bring people together through my work as an attorney and counselor for 30 years and through my past experience as a Wayne County Commissioner. I've had to work through many very contentious situations, and I know that it's very important to be able to keep a level head, an open mind, and to listen to everyone's viewpoint. It's okay to have different opinions. It's okay not to agree with everyone all the time. But it's vital to be respectful of other people's opinions and to be willing to hear them out. We all have the right to our own opinions, and we should be able to share those opinions in an environment where we are treated as equals and treated with dignity and respect. And that's something that I would bring to the City Council.
Mr. Londo?
Thank you. Great question. You're absolutely right. Politics today is more divisive than it's ever been. People are arguing online more. They're listening less, and many residents feel discouraged from even getting involved in the first place. In Westland, I believe we need to lead differently. Leadership starts with respect, transparency, and open communication. That means engaging with residents early, listening to diverse perspectives, and making decisions based on what's best for the community, not politics or personal agendas. I also want to make participation easier and more welcoming through community forums, neighborhood meetings, and clear updates on city projects. When people see their voices matter and that leaders actually listen, it builds trust and encourages more residents to engage. Divisive politics only hurts progress. Thoughtful, inclusive leadership helps get things done and strengthens our city. I got 15 seconds. The mayor sent out a so-called leadership fund, distributed a negative piece on me today. That's not leadership, but despite those attacks, if elected, I'll be working together with all on behalf of the residents.
Ms. Baumann?
Thank you. One of the things I think that's really important is when you have multiple people together, you're going to have multiple ideas, multiple viewpoints, multiple perspectives, and I think that's important. So I think on a council body, it is important to have possibly even 7 completely different perspectives on things, and I think that the key is that we're not all alike. We're not all doing exactly the same thing at all times, that we're actually really listening, obviously, to our residents first, because that's who we're accountable to, and make sure all areas of the city are being represented with our listening, and that our job, we are to ask questions, not necessarily, and I've been asked this too, like not necessarily run our agenda, but actually ask questions and learn what we can do better. Really seeking to understand, and if someone's saying something that you don't like, or you don't, or you think differently, really being quiet and listening to that, and then asking a question first before responding. So it's not just about the response, it's about the learning part of that. And I think that can actually calm a lot of things.
Mr. Hornbuckle?
Yes, thank you. That's definitely a great question, because I would like to address one issue that I hear a lot. Team this, team that. Delano Hornbuckle is Team Westland. I'm here to support the people. I hear a lot about councilmen, councilwomen saying, oh, I listened to this person, I listened to that person. Skip that. I'm approachable. If you have an issue, I'm going to come to you, I'm going to talk to you, and I'm going to hear you out. I want to learn from you. I want to learn why you disagree or why you do agree. I want to learn what your problems are. And in that phase, that's the listening, right? Being approachable, listening, and agreeing or disagreeing and understanding how to solve their problems. I'm here to lead by being approachable, by listening and taking action. So after I listen to their issues, find a solution that can help that person, and not only help that person, but help the community as a whole. And I think that's my time. Thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Powell?
Yes, there's two answers to this question, I guess. There's two different, and as far as the on city council, I mean, following the rules of the decorum, taking your turn, I don't really see a big problem with that in the current council or in the past, really. And as far as from the individuals, my son hates that I say this, but I always say the internet isn't real life. So just because there's a lot of contentious maybe online doesn't necessarily mean that individuals really feel that way. I mean, I've talked to probably thousands of people at this point, and I've had disagreements we couldn't talk past from maybe less than 10 people. So I mean, just being willing to talk to people, don't shut down or walk away or ignore the other person. I'll give my phone number if you want to talk to me, 734-234-8135. So that's what I can do. I'll give you my number and you can text or call me anytime.
Mr. Hart?
Yeah, the contentious environment is actually created by this, the campaign season. The campaign season is a highly competitive environment. It teaches us to compete against each other. And when it's all said and done, it's really hard sometimes to go ahead and revert, oh, they were my opponent last week, now we're colleagues. And it takes a while for that to refresh. And sometimes it doesn't completely, and you see these little groups start to pop up, I've always been on the council, when I was council president, I've always been calm, I've always been trying to work with everybody. I've only ever gotten emotional about one issue, and we know what that was. When they vetoed Delano Hornbuckle, I wasn't going to stand for it. But other than that, I've always been working with everybody. So what I would say is what everyone's got to do is once this whole campaign's over, who's ever left standing, leave the competitiveness on November 4th, because it's going to only hurt you November 5th moving forward, especially January 1st. All right, thanks.
Mrs. Martin?
I think that being approachable is the key to it all. When I was knocking doors, I came across people who didn't agree with me on different issues. And basically, my answer to them going forward and to everyone in this audience is, please, even if we don't agree, you can still call on me if you need my help. There's things in the city that you're not able to settle yourself. That's what we're here for. We're here to be your representatives. And I hope you remember that. And again, if we don't agree on something, it's okay, but I'm still going to do the job I'm going to be hired to do. Thank you.
All right. Our next question, what do you think are Westland strengths that can attract new residents and businesses? What do you think are Westland strengths that can attract new residents and businesses? We'll start with Mr. Sullivan.
Going back to what I mentioned earlier, I think the population that we have, especially business-wise, being such a large community and surrounded by so many other large communities, I think that's a real strength that we have here, that we can provide the people that need jobs, the people that will patronize businesses. So I think that should make us attractive to help bring businesses into Westland. I think another strength that we have is our diversity. I think Westland is a wonderfully diverse community. We have a lot of different people from different walks of life that have different viewpoints, and I think that's a wonderful thing. And I want to keep Westland open to everybody so that everybody feels that they're being heard and that they feel safe in this community. Some communities are a little more closed off than I think what we are here in Westland, and that's why I love being here in Westland and why I'm staying in Westland, and we need to keep that going forward.
Mr. Londo?
I would agree there. Westland's a very diverse city. I love living here. I'm a lifelong resident of the city. I'm a homeowner, taxpayer. I don't plan on moving anytime soon, no matter what happens with this election. So the strengths, our parks are phenomenal. We got some great parks in our city. Again, we put $1.25 million into 9 different parks citywide when I served as mayor. The city council passed it under my leadership. We're surrounded by Hines Park. I think Hines Park is a gem in our community that's not talked about enough. While that's a Wayne County park, I think it's a phenomenal resource in our community. Our business community used to be some of the best in class around. I think we still have some great businesses here. We got some great restaurants. I remember growing up and you couldn't get in some of these places, Marvesos, and I'm going to leave some places out. Alexander the Great. So many great restaurants in our community. I feel like we're lacking on a lot of that. The mall has been hurting really bad lately. Well, not lately, probably the last 10 years. So that I wouldn't really call that a strength anymore, but it could be a strength and could continue to be an anchor in our community. Again, if the mall ownership would play ball with the city. And another strength, right next door, the Nankin Square project that's opening up here this fall. I think it's a phenomenal resource for our community. I was fully in support of that. That happened under Mayor Wild when I was on the city council. Oh, wrap it up. Go ahead.
Mrs. Baumann.
Yeah, our number one strength is going to be the people. We have got a great group of residents in our city, and I know I'm going to be copying some of the sentiments of my others here are the Parks and Rec. And one of the things I learned with Michigan Municipal League and some other things, when you do research on what makes a thriving city, they always say it's the infrastructure, it's the obviously the Parks and Rec, education, and arts and culture. And so I think that we really need to capitalize on some of the things that we can actually do better. Some are strengths. I always say if you've got something strong, do that better, do that more. Highlight areas that need to be highlighted. I know we talked about marketing already today, was just really being able to, in order to attract these businesses, focus on those pillars that they know will bring their success, because the businesses want to be successful, they're here, so we have to make sure we're focusing on those strengths that we have and elevating them so that they say, oh yeah, that's where I want to be.
Mr. Hornbuckle.
So Westland's strength, definitely going to say the parks. And one reason I'm going to say about the parks is because we have one of the best parks in the state almost. I think it's the top 10, I believe, at now, right here on Central City Park. But also, what we do at the park is a strength. We have Thursday, we have the Smooth Summer Jazz. And I walk that every Thursday, and hundreds of people come from all over the state to come to Westland. So that's a strength there. The diversity, yes, we have people of different backgrounds, different abilities, are welcome to Westland. And that's very important, not just because we're diverse, but welcoming. So Westland is very welcoming. Don't beat me up on this one, but we do have an excellent chambers. I see a lot of activity happening with our chambers and promoting the community and business a lot more. So I want to say our chambers is also one of Westland's strengths.
Mr. Powell.
Yes, I believe Westland has a lot of strength. That's why I want to run. I see a lot of potential. We've got some of the reason I moved here was we have affordable housing, here comparatively to we just talked about affordable housing. There's really not affordable housing anywhere. But if you want affordable housing and you want to live in a nice community, Westland is a good place to do that. Everyone else has already said the parks. I saw a statistic a few years ago. I think we have some of the most parks, as a city, I think we have the most parks outside of the city of Detroit of any major city, but you can fact check me on that if you want to. But like I said, we have a ton of room for growth. There's a lot of, we all see the property, it's negative right now because it's empty or vacant, but there's so much room for potential there. We already are the 9th largest city in the state, and we have so much more room for growth. We could be awesome.
Mr. Hart.
All right, going to try and get through this. Might have to talk like the Micro Machines guy. So our value here is pretty simple. And he just told you. Our housing stock here is bar none compared to all of our communities around here. And what I mean by that is our stock is still plentiful, even though I told you they're not building any more of that. But it has the best value, right? It's not the cheapest housing around, that's for sure, right? And we don't want that. But what you get for the house with the city that comes with it and the services that go along with it, it's the best value, I think, in all of Wayne County. Okay, so that's an attraction right here. Just kind of a no-brainer, all right? When you're talking about businesses, we used to have the red carpet approach when I worked with Mayor Wild. And I would assume that that's still happening now, right? With the building and planning. Red carpet approach whenever a new business wants to come in to try and move them through the process as painlessly as possible. I would assume that's still happening, because if it worked before, I would hope it works now. But beyond that, the mall is the key, and we have to get the mall done. Something has to happen there so that everything else can happen around it. Thank you.
Mrs. Martin.
I think one of Westland's strength is convenient. I leave my house, I need a grocery store, it's down the street. I want to go for a walk with my dog, I just go over to the park. I think that there's a lot going on in Westland, being part of the Rotary. I see the Taste Fest every year, which is huge. At Christmas time, we have sing-alongs outside City Hall. We have all sorts of stuff happening in the summer at the parks, which I think is great. And one of the things that we're not talking about is our schools. I think we have the most dedicated teachers around the state, and I think that's very attractive. That's all. Thank you.
And Ms. Maxwell.
Yes, I would say some of the same things. The community, our events, with the Blues, Brews, and Barbecue, you see all the people come out, with us having the new upcoming amphitheater, having people come out, the convenience, as Antoinette just said, that's great for the business because people just will, get up and walk over and go to the store, whatever the business may be. I still want to go back towards that we could be a manufacturing hub for technology, and I think that, if we can encourage that business developers to come and take a look, they'll see how we may not be. I know people complain about we're not at a freeway, but there's so much here in Westland, and it's convenient to shop in. It's convenient. The farthest place you drive, you get in your car, take you 2 minutes to get to Target or Meijer, things like that. So I think that we do have that strength. Thank you.
All right, that'll be all the time we have for questions. We'll now go into closing statements, and every candidate will have 1 minute to make a closing statement, and we'll begin with Mr. Londo.
So, first of all, thank you everyone for being here tonight, and thank you to the Livonia-Westland Chamber for hosting this forum. This election is about working together and making thoughtful decisions that truly benefit Westland residents. Council members, I believe, should listen, ask thoughtful questions, and work toward the right solutions. Just following one agenda is not in our best interest. Many initiatives began when I was elected to serve and are still being advanced today, proving that progress doesn't stop when you leave office. The best example I started to touch on earlier is the Nankin Square initiative that began under Mayor Wild while I was a councilman. It continued while I was mayor, and the current mayor and city council brought it to completion. We'll be seeing a grand opening here probably very soon. Like you, I'm really looking forward to the grand opening there. That's the type of competitive spirit Westland deserves. I touched on earlier, I won't raise the thing up again, but for folks that have questions for me, the mayor did send out from his so-called leadership fund a very negative piece about me. I want people to call me directly if you have questions. My phone number is 734-223-0200, or follow me on Facebook at Michael Londo for Westland. I'll have a lot more to say there. Thanks.
Thank you again to Dan and the Chamber for this forum. In deciding to run for re-election to City Council, because you get elected once and you have to decide to run again, I took an evaluation of what I said 2 years ago. And at that time, my message was that I could and I would help to make Westland a thriving city, working for shared goals such as lower taxes, increased business, and working on the right things that are going to help create a vision that supports our families and business in our community. As a current council member and with the mayor and the administration, we've led the way to make Westland that thriving community that we talked about. So experience and leadership matter, and we did that through our budget and through the initiatives and sometimes finishing out the project. Sometimes a project will start with a previous administration, but it takes the current administration to actually finish it out and make it an actual real-life thing. So a vote for me is actually where you put your voice at the heart of an amazing future for Westland, where we can keep the physical, mental, and economic health of our community front and center, including making us a destination for arts and culture and a city that we love to live, work, and play in.
Mr. Hornbuckle.
I want to thank everyone for coming out and listening to us. I want to thank the chambers for putting this on, and I want to thank everyone here for showing up. As you heard from us today, Westland is not an average city, so we don't need average leaders. We need leaders who show up, take action, and get results. I will always be approachable, accessible, willing to listen and learn and hear your story so I can continue to fight for you and the people that come behind me. Let's stop playing the politics game and let's start getting things done here in Westland. Let's make Westland great for you and the people at home together. We are Westland strong, so let's be Westland strong with Delano Hornbuckle as your councilman. If you need to reach me, you can follow me on Facebook, Councilman Delano Hornbuckle. You can always text or call me at 313-415-4096. And I will say, if you call or text me at 2, I might not answer. Thank you.
Mr. Powell.
Yes, thank you for putting this on. This is important. This is a great opportunity. And like I said, unlike most people who run for office, I actually have specific things I want to accomplish. And if I can accomplish those things, I would be, I wouldn't have any reason to run again. But I want to lower the utility costs by building a water tower so we can buy water at night, disperse the daytime. I've covered that ad nauseum. Lower property taxes to bring in some more redevelopment, both commercial and residential. And then I want to work with them all, offer them property tax incentives in order for us to get a community center and kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I know that takes a lot of work. All of those things are several years of work, but I would like to get started on them. But if you want to find out more, my website is Powell for Westland. It's with a number 4, so Powell, the number 4, Westland.com. My number is 734-234-8135, and I hope you'll help me to revitalize Westland. Thank you.
Mr. Hart.
Thank you, Dan. Results take time, like former Councilman Londo said, former Mayor Londo, wow. Results take time. You just don't want to look at who's spiking the football in the end zone, all of the plays it took to get there. Just in the past 4 years, our ordinance department's been doubled, work with our current council, the Nankin Annex that you see that we're working on, the new fire station, fully staffed fire department, which also the fire department, the fire union has endorsed me, best fund balance in history. These things don't happen in a vacuum. It takes experience. Even at 8 years on the council that I have, I am the most experienced council member, which isn't that much, right? So the experience that I have to go ahead and bring to the table are going to be very important for whoever ends up on this council to work together. But like I said, I appreciate everybody for coming. I appreciate everybody for watching. If you have any more questions or need information from me, citizensforjimhart.com. That's where you can find it. My resume, I link my resume and everything else there too. Once again, I'm applying for the job. I want to be able to show you my resume. Thank you.
Every day I go to work at the Rouge plant and I watch hardworking people try to make a buck so that they can survive. I come from that background. I'm applying for city council. I think I'm more than qualified with my 25 years of financial experience, owned a business, sold it, and retired. I believe in Westland. I think it has a bright future. And with the right leadership, I believe we can go far. And like Mr. Hart said, yes, things take time. But I do believe that people with the appropriate degrees, appropriate experience should be consulted and can help the city. So thank you for your time.
Ms. Maxwell.
Thank you, Livonia-Westland Chamber of Commerce, for hosting this event tonight. I want a city where families feel supported, veterans are honored, businesses grow, and our government is accountable and transparent. I want safe neighborhoods, economic growth, and opportunities for families. I love this city, and I'm committed to serving it with transparency and respect. I remain committed to making this city a better place. I ask for your support, your ideas, and your vote as we shape a brighter future for all of us. I want the citizens to live well and be well, so please vote Maxwell. Please visit my website at votelakeshamaxwell.com, and you can call me at 313-437-2427. Thank you.
And Mr. Sullivan.
Yeah, first I'd like to thank Dan West and the Chamber for putting on this candidate forum, and thank you to all the candidates for being here today. Also thank you to everyone that is here today or watching a tape of this at home to become better informed voters. Thank you to my wife Sharon and all of my family, friends, and supporters that have been putting in so much time and effort to help my campaign. I'm running for city council because I have a deep belief in public service, and I want to do everything that I can to make sure that our city is doing everything it can for its residents. I believe that my education and experience as an attorney and former elected legislator at the county level can be an asset to our city council. I believe that it is a great honor to have the opportunity to serve your community in elected office, and I would be deeply appreciative of the citizens of Westland if you were to provide me with that opportunity. I ask that you consider casting one of your votes for John Sullivan in this year's city council election for both the full and partial terms on the ballot. And for more information, you can go to sullivanforwestland.com. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll give you a moment for that in a minute here. That'll conclude our candidate forum. We thank each of you for your time today, and we wish you all the best in your campaigns, and we also want to acknowledge you for your willingness to serve the community. We can now give the candidates a round of applause. The Livonia-Westland Chamber of Commerce wants to thank our audience who joined us this evening, and for all those who watched the feed of this program. Also wish to thank WLND, the TV crew, for its efforts to record and rebroadcast this program leading up to the election on Tuesday, November 4th. We thank all of you for joining today. Best luck to all you guys, and have a great evening. Take care all.